What if I told you that doing nothing is the most courageous act a person can practice today? It sounds absurd, doesn't it? In an age where productivity has become a religion and rest is seen as a sin, stopping feels like failure. We are children of a modern culture that measures worth by movement. The busier you are, the more valuable you seem. But is that really true? Marcus Aurelius, echoing the wisdom of the ancients, whispers something that sounds almost heretical. True power lies in stillness. In a world addicted to speed, silence has become an act of rebellion. Socrates once said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." But today, we live without examining. We just react, click, and run. We've lost presence, forgotten the flow of life, and become slaves to ego and control. Imagine your soul as a lake. The more you stir the surface, the less you can see the bottom. Non-action, Wu Wei, is not apathy, it's clarity. It's the moment when the lake becomes calm and you finally see who you truly are. What you're about to discover might overturn everything you believe about effort, success, and happiness. Get ready, because what comes next might completely change the way you live and who you are. We live as if being chased by something invisible. The alarm rings, and before we even open our eyes, we already feel guilty for not having done enough. It's as if an inner judge watches us constantly. That voice was born early, in school, at home, in the endless comparison with others. Since childhood, we've learned that idle time is wasted time. But Socrates would smile at that and ask, wasted for whom? Modern culture has created a new religion, the religion of productivity. The altar is the clock. The creed, do more, run more, be more. And yet in trying to be everything, we become nothing. Anxiety is the new normal, and rest has become a luxury. We live exhausted, yet unable to stop. Marcus Aurelius would call this the illusion of doing, where human beings mistake movement for meaning. We ignore the fact that simplicity and silence are not laziness, they are gateways to consciousness. Amid so much haste, we've forgotten what matters, the present moment, presence itself. And as Seneca once said, it is foolish to rush toward death out of fear of being late. The result is a generation that feels alive only when busy. We run, but we don't know where. We produce, but we don't know why. And deep down, we fear what we might find if we actually stopped. Perhaps the void, perhaps the truth. The way out, as Socrates would say, lies in self-examination. To practice stillness, conscious meditation, mindfulness, not as a trend, but as a return to lucidity. Because only in the pause can a human being hear what the noise tries to hide, the soul itself. And you, have you ever noticed how silence frightens you? Share your thoughts in the comments. There's something deeply unsettling about the idea of stopping. We live in a world where silence is almost an offense. If you're not doing something useful, it's as if you're wasting your life. But what if it's the opposite? What if the real waste is the constant need to move? Imagine a cup that's overflowing. No matter how much more coffee you pour, it spills over. The modern mind is just like that. Full, saturated, unable to hold what truly matters. The power of doing nothing is the conscious act of emptying that cup. It's the deliberate choice to reject noise in order to rediscover balance. Marcus Aurelius, with his stoic serenity, would remind us the river does not push its waters, it simply flows. That is Wu Wei, effortless action, non-action. It is movement born from harmony, not from force. In Socratic terms, it's the intelligence that emerges when we stop trying to be too intelligent. Yet modern ignorance has taught us to fear the pause. Stopping feels like failure. But this rush, disguised as virtue, is in truth the ego's prison. It's the ego that whispers, if I don't do something, I'll be forgotten. And so anxiety is born, the fear of disappearing. The paradox is simple and brutal. The more we try to control life, the more it slips away. When we let go, it flows. When we fight, it hardens. When we breathe, it reveals itself. Stillness is not absence. It is total presence. It is the inner peace that appears when we accept reality without resisting it. Socrates would ask, what is wiser, to fight against the river or to learn to swim with it? The answer lies in serenity. It's not about giving up, but about trusting. And you? Can you stay in silence for 5 minutes without judging yourself as unproductive? Share your thoughts in the comments. You know that feeling that if you stop pushing the world, everything will fall apart? That's the greatest lie the ego ever told. It convinces us that we are the managers of existence, as if the sun only rises because we woke up early. But look around. The trees grow without career plans. The sea doesn't need goals, and your heart is beating right now, even without you asking it to. So, what exactly are you trying to control? Ancient philosophy has always warned us about this illusion of control. Socrates said, "He who wishes to rule others must first rule himself." Biki, yet we do the opposite. We try to command everything except our own minds. We live like puppets of our own anxiety, trying to hold on to life with clenched fists, never realizing that everything forced eventually slips through our fingers. Marcus Aurelius called this the tragedy of effort. We believe the world depends on our sweat. We forget there is a wisdom older than any clock, the wisdom of calm action, of quiet strength. True strength is not in holding on, but in letting go. When you try to control the uncontrollable, the result is exhaustion. When you learn surrender, the result is inner freedom. It's that moment when the body relaxes, the mind slows down, and the universe simply does what it has always done. It flows. In the digital age, control has taken on a new form. Likes, followers, numbers. We try to control even the image others have of us. But that's a golden prison. The pursuit of visual perfection kills spirituality, and the fear of seeming imperfect destroys authenticity. Non-action, then, becomes the truest act of rebellion. Accepting that we don't need to control everything creates space for mystery, and mystery is the ground of wisdom. As Epictetus would say, there are things that depend on us and things that do not. The problem is, we've forgotten which is which. And you, what are you still trying to control, even though deep down you know it's not up to you? Share your thoughts in the comments. What if everything you believed about success was an illusion? What if the real prison isn't failure, but meaningless effort? We live like weary warriors, fighting invisible battles against time, against silence, against ourselves. We chase control, yet lose command over what matters most, our own being. Socrates once said, "Know thyself." But how can we know ourselves if we spend our whole lives trying to be something else? Modern culture has programmed us to run. From an early age, we learn that to stop is to lose, that productivity is a virtue, and idleness a sin. But what is idleness, if not the fertile soil of creativity? In our arrogance, we believe we make life happen, but the truth is the opposite. It's life that makes us. When we stop forcing, the flow of life reveals itself, and the universe breathes through us. Non-action, Wu Wei, is the forgotten art of allowing. It's not giving up, it's trust. It's the courage to release the helm and let the current show the way. Marcus Aurelius called this the dance with existence. You don't need to conduct the music, you only need to listen. And in that instant of surrender, something shifts. The ego screams, but awareness awakens. The mind that once fought now observes. The body that once feared now flows. And for the first time, we taste the sweetness of inner freedom, the kind that can't be bought, measured, or displayed. Plato would say that the soul is like a wild horse. It only finds direction when it stops resisting the reins of truth. And the truth is simple, painful, and liberating. You don't have to fight to exist. You already are. Reflect. What if effort itself is what's keeping you from truly living? What if real power lies in not doing, If this reflection resonates with you, like this video and subscribe to continue this philosophical dialogue. Now, let's dive even deeper. Have you ever noticed how water never forces its way, and yet it always arrives exactly where it needs to be? It bends, it adapts, it flows. That is the spirit of Wu Wei, the essence of Eastern wisdom that Marcus Aurelius would apply to the human soul. To act without forcing, to move without tension, to live without control. In our society, one that mistakes effort for merit, this idea almost sounds blasphemous. How can I not strive, the restless ego would ask. But Wu Wei doesn't propose laziness, it proposes presence. It's the harmony between being and doing, the point where balance dissolves the duality of to act or to stop. It's the dance of life, where you move like the river, always in motion, but never in resistance. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And perhaps the most liberating thought of all is this: you don't need to prove anything to anyone, only to live in harmony with the nature of things. Breathe. You've arrived. No rushing, no fighting, just being. If this reflection touched something within you, comment below, "I choose stillness." Subscribe and share this video because the world needs more people who know how to stop and simply exist.